like to start the second portion of the evening here. Once again, I want to thank you guys for getting out here. I know it's not easy on a weeknight to get down to Irvine for an event like this, but it's much appreciated from the club, the coaching staff, and everybody involved. This is what separates us, I believe, from other clubs, is the ability that we have to bring everybody in, put everyone on the same page, and then everyone goes out there and does their coaching duties. We give you guys your different flavors, but it's still in line with what we expect from the club. So thanks very much for getting out here tonight. Before we get started, I just want to make a couple introductions. And for me, the theme of the evening, as we started going through and planning everything, it really got down to connectivity. Okay, you guys received your tablets tonight. We have everything from that to our coaching staff, directors, board members, AS Roma, the Academy, Austin here. And it's all about being connected. So as you can see, a lot of what we're trying to do is give you guys all the tools that it takes to put this club on the same page. And once again, I'll repeat, we try to give you guys the opportunity to provide your own flavor to what we do, but we want to make sure we're providing a lot of the substance that goes behind it. So hopefully you guys get a lot out of this evening. And with connectivity being the theme, the guys that I'm connected to most of you guys in the room, are my area directors. So I wanted to make sure that we introduce who those guys are as we're out on the field, whether you see in my games, practices, social events, whatever, feel free to speak to them. They've got a wealth of knowledge. I meet with your directors once a week. So we meet as a group once, and then the off week, I meet with them individually, and the following week we meet as a group. So twice we meet with all 14 directors, and then 2 times I have individual one-on-one meetings with them. So once again, I think these are little steps that we take that puts our club on the same page, and we got to continue to grow off of that and do more and more. So with that being said, starting down south with our mission viewer, Matt Swindle. There we are, Matt. We've got Kevin Mackery, runs our RSM area, Rancho Santa Margarita, there in the far back. Ben Forey with our Irvine boys is right over here. You guys, why don't you, sorry, but will you stand up so people can see you when you do that? All right, cool. Kevin Elson, where's Kevin Elson at? Right next to him. Kevin runs our Irvine girls. We've got Teddy Chronopoulos with the Academy. Neil Powell running our elite program, the Girls ID. Martin McGuire, Redlands. We're spotting that right back there. With Pablo Lastorna, we've got our LA contingency. Alex Silva with Riverside. Where's Alex over there? David Zilpa runs our Huntington Beach, Long Beach. Where's Zilpa? Here. And then we've got some new franchise, some new chapters that some have expanded from being small little entities, and a couple are brand new. We had 3 or 4 teams in our Yorba Linda area the last 2 years. And this year, Mike Stauber came aboard, and it really has taken off. So where's Mike Stauber? Another one that was in existence with 3 or 4 teams, and then really blossomed this year is our Costa Mesa Newport area. So where's Ignacio Sid? Nacho. Far back there. We've got a new branch down in Laguna, the Laguna area. And it's Andy and Mike Thomas that are heading that up. They're 2 new guys, so make sure we send 2 new guys. We won't pay you yet tonight. We'll get that in before the Velas leave town. This is our first chance to expand outside of California. We actually now have a chapter in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And Q Corey Vela will be heading that up. We're right in the corner over here. We've got a couple other guests with us this evening. As you saw out there at the coaching seminar, we've got AB and Andrew from Real SoCal. As you guys know, we've done a partnership under AS Roma with Real SoCal, being involved in it. And so it's really important. You'll start to see as we move forward, interaction between the 2 clubs. And it's, AB and I have gotten along forever and had a good relationship. It's a good working relationship. We call each other quite often, touch base on things. A lot of you guys know we sit on the SCDSL board together. So it's someone that I really trust. I'm glad that they were able to make it out here. And it really shows the trust in the overall Roma relationship that we have here. And with that Roma relationship, we've got Giuseppe Giannini that we introduced before. Relatio Fazzi. And then we've also got Austin McPhee. As you guys know, Austin, the assistant coach from Northern Ireland, and he handles all of our travel. He just did our trip to Rome, which he'll be able to speak to you guys about. We've got 2 board members here also. Dave Barry, president of the club. Brian Riggs was here with his wife early, his newborn, rolling around out there. So if you saw Shannon with the cart out there, that was Brian Riggs and his wife. Brian is one of our board members here in the club. So with connectivity being the theme for the evening, giving you guys your tablets. This is something that's really important to us. This is our way of connecting straight to you guys. And on the flip side of that, this is also our way of saying there's no excuses. So when we look at these things, you will see that you've got everything from codes of conduct, links straight into SCDSL rules, Cal South rules, registration forms, the U.S. curriculum, AS Roma curriculum, Patadori curriculum. We're at sportsessionplanner.com. Everybody in the room here, we've got you guys a subscription to Sports Session Planner. And what that's going to be is with these tablets, you're going to be able to view your sessions on your tablet. And yes, we'll send an email out to the club letting them know that if they see you guys staring at a 7-inch tablet, that's approved by the club. Because I do get emails and phone calls about you guys being on your phones or looking at things. They don't realize if you're looking at how much time's left in a game, a practice, a session that you put on your phone. This will be a way for parents to identify that this is part of work, what you're doing, but also for us, it's important that we're able to have direct contact with you. Every one of you guys got your own separate email address on there. So Ivan's and Teddy are going to be able to shoot information straight to your tablet. It's not involved with your other email. I will tell you right now, please do not involve your other email on these tablets because eventually they'll be traded out and upgraded and we'll have them in our possession and we'll be able to see everything you've looked through and downloaded and kept or done whatever on your tablet. So I am just giving you that advice up front. Please do not do anything on your own with your tablets. But the Sports Session Planner, yes, I know a couple of them. So with that being said, I want to introduce Ivan Romero. You guys all know the Pats TV. Ivan has been with me from the very beginning on this. This started on a trip when he was a player probably years ago, or with his brother on a trip talking about it, and then it gradually evolved into what now is Pats TV, and hopefully continuing to grow for us as we go inside the club here. So I'm going to let Ivan walk you through the tablet real quick. If you want to pull it out, you've got some juice on it. These things have been rolling in for the last 2 weeks. We've been trying to keep the charge, but he can walk you through it.
Alright, so over the past week, we're gonna have, I've been texting you guys. You guys have probably won't have my number. You guys can always contact me, any questions regarding the tablet. So let's start off. So, you guys I know how to turn it on from the top button, hold it down. It's gonna take probably like 30 seconds to turn on, load everything on. So I basically summed up, as John said, each of you guys got your own email. It's your first name and the initial of your last name. Alright, so what that is, we're gonna do, I'm gonna send them out to Teddy, so that way if he has documents to send out to you guys, he can either forward it or big massive one and just give it to me and I'll forward it to you guys. So that's how we're planning to give documents to you guys, which is forms, Roma curriculum, stuff like that, what we get throughout the club in the past couple months. Or the other way would be is, if it's too big to email, we will ask you guys to come in, or whenever you come into the office, pick up your check, pick up stuff from the store. You guys can always hand me your tablet. I will be there full time now in a month. You guys can give me your tablet there, and I will upload the documents right away. So as you see the home screen, you got your wallpaper with Patadori. It says Coach's tablet. We would like you to keep that home screen so people know. If parents happen to see it on the ground, they can right away think it's a coach and hand it back to another coach. So then on the home screen, you got your browser, your documents, your email, your camera, and you got useless apps that we don't think you should be using them on this tablet. We have pretty much already set everything up for you. So if you click on browser, right now we have no Wi-Fi. If you click on browser and you click on the 3 arrows by the URL, you will see bookmarks. If you click on bookmarks, like I said, I put all the websites that you should be going on, which are the Patty Doors websites, Pat's TV, so click on browser. So you have your Patty Doors website, your Pat's TV, Sports Session Planner, the Academy website, Cal South rules, SCDSL Hockey League, their rules, and you got Patty Doors, the members account, where you can see if your parents have paid their fees. So that's basically the website that we want you to be on. Nothing really else, like John said, we don't want you guys handing the tablets back and me finding weird websites on them. I don't want to see that stuff. So then if you click the home screen, or if you click the screen, it should load up the 3 little buttons down here, which is the arrow to go back, the home screen, and then your previous tabs. So you click the middle one, you go back home, and then you see, you got your documents. Click your documents. And what we did is, if you go right here, you click this, it's going to be on local storage, and then you'll see a folder called Documents. You should either have 11 folders or 12 folders in that Documents folder. And right there, we basically, made separate folders, which is, warm-ups, finishing, nutrition, all these documents that you can have. You can see right there. So if you let's click on nutrition. Look for the nutrition folder. You see that we have different things that you can look up for your players, show the parents. That way that your players can be in good shape, keep up their nutrition facts up to date and all that good stuff. So, like I said, when we have new documents to send out, I'll do a mass email to all the emails that I have. And that way you guys can look at your emails and just receive them right away to your tablet. If you go home, we got your camera. I encourage you guys to take pictures of your team. When you're out in the field, when you're practicing. I would like to have more on the social media, so you guys can always send it to me, which is either pattydorstv@gmail.com or to my phone. That'd be awesome. We want to encourage our parents and our players to follow social media. We have over 100 teams. We're not up to the followers that we should have. We should be able to get up there more with the other clubs out there, that Rossall Cal, Slammers. They have a lot more followers than us, and we encourage you guys to help us out with the social media. Tell your parents, tell your coaches, your players, to give us a follow, a like. That's going to help us out a lot. Besides that, like John said, we encourage you guys to use this on the field. Sports Session Planner. What we did is I'm going to email you guys separately your own password to your Sports Session Planner and to your password to your tablet, to your email. That way you can open it up whenever. Those sports sessions, the sessions, you cannot create them on the tablet. You will have to create them at home and import them from your home computer to your tablet.
What happens if you've already got an account and you've already got lots of
Email, there's a way of migrating them.
Okay.
And so we'll handle that offline. We'll have to sort that out, because there's probably, if any of you guys have a Sports Session Planner account, we'll discuss with them. There's some permission, I think, that needs to go back and forth. Teddy has done it in the past with them, and we'll get all the permissions and migrate them into the account.
And if you have questions, email me. We'll get learning with the tablet quicker as we go on. There might have some problems in the beginning, but we'll eventually get through it. And that's a good question. I got in contact with the guy. Teddy put me in contact. So right now we're sorting out the whole email situation, and that way we can send you guys question planners to your emails and you can take a session, put all yours together. Just give me a text. I'll put my number up later on. And you guys can all shoot me a text whenever or an email, and I'll give you your personal password or email. It should be your first, your dot your name and then the initial of your last name. At Gmail. Yeah. Pretty much it. I mean, if you have any questions, like I said, how do you print? Right, you can either connect the USB to the printer. You know, in the box, you have your USB cable. You put it to your printer and then you print it out. Or you can use your Wi-Fi at my printer. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All the new ones.
Thanks, and you guys, I'm sure questions are going to pop up. Like I said, Ivan is going to be full-time with us now, so we're really making a push on the technology side and organizational side, so feel free, email him, stop in at the office. We'll put his office hours on there, and you guys can come on in regularly, get your updates, and he can help sort you guys out with any problems that you have. All right, guys. Okay, next person I'd like to speak, and anyone who's, who knows me well, first off, my field of vision is getting worse as I'm getting older. Let me introduce Mark Botterill again. I know I introduced him before, and his Steph there from Bownex. He's there for anyone that needs help. I should have mentioned him before. Sorry, Mark. Public apology there. As you guys know that have ever traveled with me, once we get somewhere, I say the itinerary is great, but when we get there, it's always going to change. So tonight's itinerary has changed a little bit. I would like to have AB come up and speak. He's going to take a portion of my speech where we're going to discuss SCDSL registration. Everyone knows with the age group change this year, we've had a lot of issues with the teams. You've got certain issues where negatively a team might split and you don't have enough on either, so you got to create two new teams. There's other cases where the team, splits and you aren't able to create teams. The league has had a tough task ahead of us as far as planning how we were going to do this. And AB is going to come up and speak about how we're going to go through a lot of the selection process and the application process. But the most important thing before he even gets up here, what I want you guys to know is you get one team for each slot last year. And your directors are going to walk you through that. And your directors are going to be the ones to go to the website and help go through the flights and stuff like that. So you need to make sure that after this evening, you touch base and you talk with your director over the course of the next week, and we flight you appropriately. Because like I said, you're going to get one team to replace the one that you had, and then we need to reapply with the other team. Which doesn't mean the end of the world. We're going to get whatever we're justified for. Just doesn't mean you get a free pass back into flight one. But I'm sure we're putting teams together, applying for the appropriate levels, and we should be okay from there. So let me introduce Alberto Brew from Real SoCal.
Guys, thank you for welcoming me and having me here tonight. I know some of you guys and coaches have played against you guys or been around you guys, so I appreciate you having me. I've been on the SCDSL committee from the very beginning, and along with my man Teddy here, helped form the league, and we really appreciate that. Pat's now it's almost, I'm talking about maybe 50% of the league itself, so that's a big part of the league, and now obviously on the club as well. So a couple things John asked me to clear up on Bradley. You got some of the points already, but Lee and I spoke with one of the coaches earlier today. All right, so the 09s, okay, and I know that not everybody's involved in 09s, but the 09s are supposed to play 4v4 with no goalkeeper. So we will not have a 09 league. We will not have a competitive 4v4 league. We will have in the 08 division, we will have 6 divisions. We will have an 08 Champions League, and that will be Flight 1, Flight 2, Flight 3, open to 08s and 09s. Right? We will have a Europa League, Flight 1, Flight 2, and Flight 3, open to 09s only. So if you have a pure 09 team, you play in the Europa League of the 08s. And that way we will play 7 versus 7 with goalkeepers. Okay? And you cannot have 08s. Even though it's 08 league, you cannot have 08s in the Europa League. If you have a mixed team, you have to play in the Champions Division of the 08s, Flight 1, Flight 2, or Flight 3. Okay? Any questions on that? I know it's a little tricky because The 09s are U8 and the 08s are U9. So the U's gets a little tricky. So going with that, bracketing. So you know, SCDSL is founded on great principle of self-bracketing. Okay, and you're allowed to self-bracket teams in the 08s, in the 07s. All right, and in 2s and 3s you can self-bracket. So the younger teams, you're self-bracket. You know, if you want to put yourself in flight 1 and you don't belong, good luck to you. Right? Okay, so go ahead. So for the 06s, which is basically going to be our first 9v9 venture, for flight 1 only, we have created a bracketing committee in the SCDSL. John is a part of it. I'm a part of it as well. And so flight 1 teams that are new to flight 1, whether they're from our own club or from outside clubs, they get reviewed. Okay, so they don't get automatic berth into flight 1. The existing teams that had the record to prove it also get automatic into flight 1. And our league goal is not to eliminate teams from flight 1, but it's to stop teams that don't belong. So if you were a 3-7-2 team and you know you have a reasonable goal differential, you're in the league. You know, it's not like, oh, you lost. There's no magic number of games that you need to win. It's, are you competitive with flight 1? And it's soccer coaches that are doing the meeting. So, you know, we put teams that were 1-8-1, and you know, they lost to the last place team, lost to the first place team on the last day of the season, 1-0. You know how hard that is if you're the last place team to play and pull that off. You're a competitive team. Or you had a goal differential that was better than everybody except for the first and second place team. And we look at the scores, how you did against those, who you beat and all that stuff. So it's not to keep teams out of flight 1, it's to get the proper ones in. So that's how we bracket flight 1, okay? And then what John was alluding to is, you know, you had an 04 team and it now splits. So which team is which team? So you're allowed to turn one team into one team. You cannot turn one team into 2 teams and be in flight 1. Even though your U12 team was full of real good 02s and real good 03s, if I got the right age group, you can't say, I now have 2 flight 1 teams. What you can say is, I'm applying this team, my flight 1 record is this, and it is now this new team, and this is a flight 1 team, the league will accept it, and from these guys, I'm applying this as a flight 1 team. Okay? And if you had, certainly if you had a U12 team and a U13 team, and you're mixing them, you can apply that as 2 teams, if again they have the credentials to be flight 1. And if you want to turn 2 into, as John mentioned, it might be flight 1 if your team merits it. If your team merits it, the second team will be up for review with the committee. That's basically it. That's basically it on bracketing, flight 1, competitions committee, and the 08s. So I think John put me on the spot. So I think that's it. Is there any questions on our league and bracketing and why my kid did not give me back the doors?
I saved you for man.
Okay, cool.
Thanks,
Hey,
Dave.
Just with the flight 1, would that be something that's going on throughout the years, or is that just going to be this year that they're looking to do that?
As far as the splitting, it will just be for this transition. So our rules are, but as far as flight 1, that will always be in place, unless something changes. But what happened was the flight 1 was growing into kind of ridiculous numbers, and so the members of the agreed to a bracketing committee. But yeah, next year, we'll know which teams are flight 1 and flight 2, because you'll know who's in 09, who's in 03, all that stuff. Absolutely.
I have a quick question. On the 09s in the Europa division, you anticipate having multiple flights?
Again, we don't know, but that's what we're hoping to have. It certainly will have a 1 to 2. You know, obviously, you're right. There could be no South Flight 3. You know, and then you're either gonna. Michelle does a very good job. She's gonna take all the apps, put them together, and say, you know what, I can make a central league here, or maybe these 2 teams got to go there, because you know, again, we really don't have any data. I know that we'll have enough for a flight 1 and 2.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
So, and you guys, with that being said, for SCDSL, what we're going to ask is the teams that are reapplying, you did split, you have a second group, and I suggest this even for your first group, add your roster, guys, quiet. Add your roster to your application, or at least turn your roster into me. Because when we go into these meetings, as AD said, we're coaches sitting there. If your manager went on, or you went on and said, oh, don't worry, I added a bunch of really good players. That doesn't translate to coaches. We call bullshit when that happens. All right, then we go to your, at Cal South. Then we start looking at your state cup and things like that. And that's when we start digging. And that's when we usually find out that an application wasn't worth it. And then we'll tend to bring them down. So I want to make sure that we are right there, well prepared, so that as I'm sitting in the meeting with these guys, I can help handle it. I've got, your information there. These guys have got your information. Players that transfer in from your team, note where they came from and the level they came from, so that we can tell right away why you're up there. If we don't put it on, just like dealing with children, that kind of means that it didn't happen, or it's not something worth putting on there, otherwise we would add to it. So let's make sure we put all that stuff on there. It'll help your application process. It'll help us tremendously.
An application filled out by a manager is going to be ignored. We have a really good team, we've done really well in tournaments, we picked up some really good players, we should be flag 1. That's going to be ignored because that's a manager talking. So if the coach is talking, and mentions the things with John, it will be verified and it will be looked up. And you're dealing with soccer coaches that know every single trick in the book. Somebody said, I took my team and I had all my players playing up. They wanted to have a U13 team, and they wanted to turn it into U14 flight 1 and a U13 flight 1. And they said all my players that were playing up are remaining, and we were very good flight 1. So they had to claim to be a flight 1 14s team, right? They were trying to claim it to 2 teams. They had 1 player playing up. So the coach was telling the truth. He wanted 1 player playing up to turn it into a flight 1 team. So,
It's amazing, some of the stuff that comes through. Okay, now, back to some of our very special guests for the evening. I'd like to introduce, once again, Giuseppe and Alessio. And real quick, we will show you guys who you guys are dealing with here from AS Roma. So take a quick second. You can see through both of their resumes, they're similar to the way our staff are formed. We've got a lot of diversity, people with a lot of good backgrounds, and coming together forms a very good product. So you can see with who they've sent over here, they've sent a very good combination that's really helped us in the past couple days, and we're really looking forward to the next 3 or 4 days that they're spending here with us. So this is Giuseppe right here. Out of your way. And here's Alessio. And Alessio worked with our kids, anyone who had kids on the trip that went to AS Roma. We just went out there. Austin's group provided the trip for us. We went out, trained with the AS Roma coaches, had a fabulous week. They did a great job. We started a new concept of just a training program, and it worked out tremendously. There was a lot less pressure put on the kids for games. They got to go out and enjoy the training. The test was really on these guys, because now you're dealing with 3 14-year-olds, 3 13s, 5 12s, 10, 11-year-olds, and even I was going out there going, I'd like to see how this works. Let's see if, let's see them pull this off. And they actually did an awesome job with the kids. And so, we're going to continue to provide those opportunities, but I really trust in what these guys do, and we're going to have them speak to you guys about AS Roma methodology and curriculum here. So guys, have at it.
John, I want to speak 2 words in English, but for me it's more difficult. Guy, I would like to start speak English, but I don't speak very well. And we are here for start the collaboration, the cooperation with the Padadoras, and after come in Real Soccer for 1 week, and after come in Colorado, and then in Texas. Our methodology is important for our the mentality, the coach, the mentality, the company, for speak, for trasmettere, come si dice, per trasmettere, for trasmettere.
Yeah, us transition.
Yeah, the message is important for a young player, with the player in a positive, think positive always. It's important to play for go goals. No think defender. Always Italian football is a defender. Is a speaking word in all word. Italian defenders. But no, he's don't tease him. Non è. Don't tease him. It's important the mentality AS Roma, the same at Barcelona. No? Yes, I know it's a different the player, different the society, but the mentality is the same. It's the same. Barcelona have the Messi, Sanchez, and Neymar, but Roma no. But the mentality is the same because Luis Enrique, coach, when coming Roma, is transferred the mentality, the idea, the play, the idea, the exercise, and now Alessio speak with you and they see the exercise. Okay, thank you. So.
Also, my English is not perfect. I try to speak in English. Now I will help by some video, okay? This is
There's no doubt AS Roma Youth Academy
is a
is one
video
of the most
of
successful
the
academies.
US Academy. Is the website.
For the
If you
second
don't
year in
know,
a row, the
the
under-19 team is one of the 8 best on the
USA
continent,
Academy
having reached the
.com.
UEFA Youth League
.com.
quarterfinals this season and the
And there you go.
semi-finals in the last edition.
A little presentation of the project.
In
That's
2015,
that's
AS
Roma
Roma
with
expanded its
the other
youth program to
academy
the United
try
States,
to create
creating a partnership
for
with 10 elite US soccer academies.
transfer our idea, our methodology to create a good relationship.
Daniele De Rossi, Alessandro Florenzi, and legendary players like Totti have paved the way for the development of a successful youth academy, joining Trigoria's training ground in their early teens before becoming pros. As part of this partnership, AS Roma will be sending 4 coaches to the US next month to work with the players and coaches from all 10 academies and implement Mr. Calcio into their training regiments. Mr. Calcio is a software utilized for the application of universal training methodology. And that's what's made it possible for young American Aidan Stanley to play for AS Roma's Primavera last December. Originally from St. Louis, Scott Gallagher, Stanley started 2 and played in all 4 Primavera matches at the Disney Soccer Showcase in Orlando. A lifetime experience.
The second team.
Top club, especially a club
And
like
also
AS
the
Roma,
Champions
moving
League
from the academy
semifinals
up
last
to
year.
AS Roma. I thought it was pretty amazing how, like, the ball speed, the composure, everything just went up a million levels compared to how we play in the U.S. Instead of like touch, pass, it was pass. It was quite an experience.
Stanley became the first AS Roma US Academy player to wear a Giallorosso jersey, a dream that can now become true for many other American soccer players. If you want more information on the AS Roma US Academy programs, you can visit the official website www.asromausacademy.com.
Okay, now another little video is the website that AS Roma used for organize all the team, the drill, the game, and the statistics. Okay, it's possible the director and the president see all of team in this website. The concept is to, in this website there are young player, the holder, the trainer, and all the system, no? This is a center in Trigoria, and this is another center in the center of Rome for the youth soccer. There are many academies in Italy, many in America, the North, some in South America, and one in Africa, South Africa. This is the concept, no? All the studies and all the drill, the training of all team. And now there is a video presentation.
My grandfather told me that I live in the capital of the world. He taught me how to fully enjoy it and recall its history and its walls. Day by day, I discover its streets and alleys. I'm learning to love it and protect it. I fight for it and seek to push it beyond me. I run through its street, being more and more aware that behind the corner hides something even greater. My city has no boundaries, no dimension. In hard times, I have someone encouraging and believing in me. Someone urging to challenge myself and to keep going. When I fall, I feel the heart of my land putting me back on my feet, and any hesitation is gone. My grandfather taught me what it means having the spirit, what it means being the son of Roma.
And it's an emotive video, no? Now, I show you our methodology, no? This is there are many phrases that the person that more bigger than me said, but is more important, are more important for our methodology, because we don't forget that football is a situation sport. There are teammates, there are opponents, there are referee. There is a referee, and the player is has to be usually to the open skill to receive information magazine the information and do an action fast, okay, quick. The sum amount of training experience is the requirement to become a high quality player. It's important to more training for grow up. Yeah. Our philosophy is in possess of ball and step back. It depends by the zone of the field, but the mentality for the player is when I recognize the ball, I have to play. Okay? All player. Try to propose a purposeful football and develop our style of play always. It's difficult, yes. It depends by the characteristic and the level of our player, but never adapt to our opponents. The goalkeeper tried always to playing with the feet. He's a first striker. He's a one player plus then the other team, no? The opponent team. Because in this case we have a numerical superiority. Players always movement. When at the ball we have to do a big work in pass and control. Be creative in the last 30 meters as the last zone by half and half. If you divided the field in 3 zones, it's the last. Okay? Because we want that the player play, connects with the other teammates, but it's very important in the soccer when one player in 1v1 go up and create a numerical superiority. Okay? And try to win by many goals and not thinking of winning, not conceding. Okay? The opposite of the come si chiama? Quando no stereotype. It's a stereotype Italian that the coach says that Italian is a defender. No? Try the opposite. In the possess of ball, the opposite. One step ahead. Go up. When you lose the ball, all the players go to win it back. The player near the ball, always attack. Okay? Without blow themselves up. It again the ball to play, not to break the opponent play. Okay? Don't lose position because it's very important when one player attack and the other close the line of pass, no? And orient the defender near the game to anticipate the opposite. Sorry. He's a striker. I'm a defender. In Italy, in the other country, usually to defend in this position, no? If the ball is there. Okay? Try to train the defender to anticipate, to stay in this position, because I have the second defender that cover my shoulder. Understand? And we try to move step by step because it depends by the age, no? The kids. Always in a youth, in a soccer school, there is a motor training because there is a big problem in Italy. We have only 1 hour a week to physical education in a school. Yeah. It's amazing, I know. I'm a teacher in a school, always 1 hour, only 1 hour in a week. In America, there is 1 hour in a day, no? Technical training is not static, but many without defender and many with defender. There are two situations. The figures show that increase the exercise technical and tactical when the player is older, no? Than when is younger. Technical training, technical tactical training, collective tactical training, and total tactical position and team training. This step by step, no? Try to go by analytic situation to global situation. Okay? This is good, but not perfect for kids. Okay? And we remember that can be any tactics without technique. Because if I haven't the ability, it's impossible to choose the right shoes in a right timing without a beat. Okay? The progression is an under 6-8 motor training, multi-purpose games, drill with or without ball. In under 8-10, technical training, drills with ball 1v1, step by step, no? Under 10-12, technical tactical, 1v1, 2v1, specific drills. Under 12-14, group tactical training, 2v2, 4v4. Naturally depended by the characteristic. If I have under 8-10, a big level, very good level, it's possible to do exercise more difficult, no? And under 14-16, team tactical training. Okay? The aim, the film, not the aim, the film is a thinking player. Because if I have a thinking player, it's impossible to choose and the right shoes in the right time. Balance the intensity, correct ratio, space, time is very important. Not didactic teaching style that I say before, no? Interactive method. Try to do a question at kids and kids answer to arrive at the solution. Okay? Is a not directive pedagogy. And main contest, game, situation, and take fast and creative decision. Okay? Because what can we do? Everybody speaks of thinking player and development of tactical tool. We must be consistent about these attachments. And also the time to match our good intention with real teaching action. Okay? Now this is a program of week. Okay? We are 4 station, 4 exercise plus warm up. In a Monday, the first day, we have a mini game for warm up because the kids arrive by school. School in Italy is very always 6. The meal is closed, and with the game, the meal is over. Okay? And then we have 4 exercises, 2 technical and 2 situation. Okay? The next day, Tuesday, we insert the physical motor exercise, but we lose the situation, and we insert in a warm-up with rondo. Okay? Rondo is a situation with 2 passes of ball. The same for the third day, but we lose a technical, and we recover with the dominus of ball of curve in a warm-up. Okay? And the last day is the same of the first. Okay? This is a model for us to a month program. We use a technical target in the first week, dribble and dominance of ball. In all the exercise in this week for the technical. Passage and control for the second week. Shoot for the third, and for the fourth week, head shoot and throw in. For the kids younger, we haven't this because the ball when touch the head is not perfect for kids younger. Okay? And the individual tactical targets with ball and without ball is dissociation and stance. And the system target with ball and without ball, wideness, neatness, and narrow shorts is when the block of more players are narrow shorts. Okay? and there are pass in front and support. There is when the player has the ball, one player in front, solution, one back, and there are one on right and one on left. Sprinting interception, resolve attack situation, resolve defensive situation for the system target. And the third week, skill and dribbling to 1v1, contrast and defense of goal, positive transition, negative transition. That there are more important. The last week is a revision and resolve attack situation based on your system and defensive. To organize the small set game, the drill, we have adopted this solution. We divide all field for number of players, 22 players in the whole field, and I have two measures, one for length and one for width. No? In base of the number of players, modality of game, and category, I have the dimension for my exercise. And then we set three measures, one small, one standard, one large, because it's possible to change that measure in base on the film, and in base on the characteristic and the age of my player. Okay. This is a model for a work plan for the player older than the youth school. No? We start by a concession because we think that at this age the player has that characteristics for the dominance of ball and pass and control. Then we have two exercises of technical, one with opponent, one without, and then we start for two exercises of system of the situation. No? One without direction and one with direction, and then try to technical combination or game. Okay? Now this is a video that resume all I said. No? It is a mini game for warm up. It's a rondo. It's an exercise to attack one attacker, one corner. It's 3v1 in a square, and try to pass the other square. This is a warm up with coaching with dominance of ball and corner. Twice
modification. Yeah.
This is a exercise of technique without opponent, simply pass and control. And the next step is increase the difficulty with two balls. This is an exercise of system, situation. This is a physical and motor exercise with ball, with balance, with the speed ladder. You know that material. It is another physical motor exercise. The technical for differentiation of the other section, technical section. It's the same with shoe boots. And now the last video is an exercise with a rondo, the same before. Yeah. Sorry, I do a mistake. This is as a concept in a game that to recognize the ball. It's in a game with another team in row, a very good team. With that player are 2006 and the other player 2005. It's a concept to recognize the ball, attack all the player, and then try to finish the action. Okay? Stop. Thank you. I hope that my English is not bad.
That's actually very good. Thanks again to the guys for doing this. Just 2 quick notes on that. Just to remind everyone, I know I made the comment while I was speaking there, but AS Roma is one of the top youth academies in the world. Their Primavera, which is the ultimate, similar to our academy, went to the semifinals of the UEFA Champions League last year. And so they played Man City, I believe, in the semifinals. Is that who they played in the semi? So this is a very distinguished club inside the world. With that being said, they've given us such access. Austin and I got to go out to Rome in September, and we actually got to see the Primavera play against Barcelona's Champions League team, the U19s. We were sitting there watching or meeting with a couple of the people in the offices. Next thing you know, the CEO and general manager are like, hey, we're going out with the Barcelona management to go see the game. Come with us. So next thing you know, we're sitting there amongst all the Barcelona management, all the Roma management, Austin and I, watching the Champions League with Barcelona and Roma. So these guys have really opened the door to us, and I hope we really take advantage of it. Also, for those of you that are new to the club, we put out a press release in the fall, and we actually had to quiet it down a little bit due to FIFA bylaws, but we have a player that's at AS Roma right now. Ethan Board just moved out there in January. He's a 2004. He was with our Pats Irvine group. He had European citizenship, very good player, so we thought he'd be the first one that we would send over there, and he actually stuck. His family moved over there in January, got themselves jobs, got integrated into the city of Rome, and now he plays for AS Roma's 2004 team. We were just out there and got to see him. He started in 2 of the matches as their 11 for the 2004s, which is an incredible feat. We're really looking forward to doing more from our players and others going and getting those opportunities. So now we'll turn it over to Teddy. He's going to describe some of the academy expectations.
This will be brief. Just a couple of things that John wanted me to kind of go through was just the academy in general. Something that what you guys saw tonight with the 04s and 05s is something really new to us. The Youth Academy will start in August. We started a selection process in September, I believe, of last year, of about 60 or 70 kids per age group amongst all the Pats kids. With that, we narrowed it down to the Roma ID program, about 40 kids per age group. And that's how we kind of came to the point now where we've seen outside. So obviously, you know, being part of the academy, you know, we're not, you know, geniuses. You know, we're going to make mistakes in terms of selection process and what kids we choose. And tonight, you may have saw some kids out there that's, you know, if you coach 04s, 05s, you may say, my kids are better than this, and I think I can, you know, my kids can make it. You know, with that being said, I think it's important that you guys understand what an academy player, what we're looking at in an academy player, and what that entails. And part of it is this, not just obviously being a good player, but also has good characteristics of a good person, a good kid. And we know, like I said before, we're going to make mistakes, so if there's anyone in you feel in your team that deserves an opportunity, we're more than welcome to have that kid come out and train. But what I will say, it's important for you guys to understand that you guys need to come out to more academy training sessions. They're open, they're not closed. You're more than welcome to come out and see what the level is like. So when you do have a kid that comes out, or you invite or want a kid to come out, that he's at that level. Because the last thing you want to do is have a kid that comes out and, you know, he is not good enough for that level. So it's important that all our practices are open to anyone that wants to come out. You're more than welcome to come out and watch practices. Games, if you want your kids to come out to games, I know you guys are busy with your own practices. We train 4 days a week. Some of you guys have, you know, 2 days a week. So if there's anything that you guys want to see as far as sessions go or anything like that, be more than welcome. We'll send some sessions out to you guys. So these are just little things that we give each academy player, almost like a 56 pages. It's like a little book. I don't have one with me. Sean, do you have one by chance? No. I have a little book we give each player that basically simplifies what an academy player is and should be. These are the things that we talk about, you know, within the academy. With that, we give them, you know, certain guidelines. Like I said before, you know, a lot of this stuff, probably the most important is here and here. Because we get a lot of kids that are very good players, they're technical, they're very, very good, but when it comes down to these two things, they fail. Being that they're not coachable, they don't want to listen, and especially when you get to the older ages, the 18s and 16s, they think they know everything. So it's very important that we try to instill, or at least that they have these qualities, and then obviously the technical and the tactical and the physical and all that stuff kind of comes, you know, with age. We were just kind of looking through the team right now. Out of our U18 team right now, we have 11 kids that started at U12 in this club. 11 out of the 20, I think we had, or 19 or something like that, out of the U18 team. And that's a pretty good accomplishment for a lot of these kids and for the club, because if we can take kids at U12 right now, we have 24 kids. So all these 24 are going to move up at U13, U14? Probably not. Right? There's going to be a few kids that are not. But if we can keep a good core of kids every single year as they move up and graduate a good core of kids, then we've done a pretty good job. John also wanted me to speak to you a little bit about position specific. This is important when you invite kids out or you recommend kids to your area director and they come to us, that we want them, if you say he's a fullback or he's a midfielder, well, what kind of midfielder is he? Is that outside, left, right? So these are things that we talk about, different formations that we played throughout the season. In a 4-3-3, this is kind of our numbering system that we go by. Obviously, in other parts of the world, this player could be a number 5 or a 4. There's different numerical systems. But for us, this is kind of what we go by in terms of what we taught the kids in the beginning of the season. It also depends on their personalities. If we're not very good back here, we may play with two holding mids. And this is something that we discussed where we feel we're pretty attack-minded. You can tell by our goals against. I think our 6 teams have given them 56 goals or something like that in 30 games or something like that. So we're very attack-minded, but we've scored 75. So we've actually won more than we've lost. So we're very attack-minded, so we play a little bit more like this than we do this. So it's important that when they do come into a session, if he's a 3, if you can let me know if he's a 3 or a 2 or a 6 or an 8, at least we have an idea of what position the kid plays. And it's not, he plays, left mid or center mid, or where in the middle. He plays at 8, 10, 6. So these are important. Again, something that we've done this year too as well, because of kind of the personality of our kids as we've gone through the season, we're not subjected to just this. We can also, we've done this with the 16s this past 4 weeks. And I think they're 4-0 playing it so far. I think they've scored 12, 13 goals again, or 3, or something like that. So this is something that we've kind of implemented. But the same roles and responsibilities still exist within each position. Nothing changes, except for the 10, when one of your guys goes up and plays the second forward. So that stuff stays the same. So again, if there's anything that any players that come out, please let us know, kind of have an idea, and we'll send this to you guys as well. These are some qualities. Every position that we give each kid, or something that we look for in the academy, is these are the physical, technical, psychological qualities that we look for in a goalkeeper. And we do this for every single position. With that responsibility, these are his key responsibilities in the defending phase and then in the attacking phase. These are things we look at for each academy goalkeeper. Then we go into a left back or a right back. These are things that we hope that he's capable of doing at a high pace. And like Asma said, it's important that the technical aspect is very good, because if the technical aspect is not very good, the tactical and the speed of play is going to be poor. And then again, defending, attacking, we go through this with every position. And again, if anyone wants this, I can send it to them. I can probably put it to their tablets.
Yeah, we'll do
so
it.
they can see
We'll do
this.
that.
Again, it's something that we believe in and we talk about, and this has been an ongoing process. 3 years ago when I came, this wasn't like this. We've added different components every single year of what we feel a Pat's Academy player should look like, or want to at least approach and build to this model. Again, it goes through every single player. I think I went all the way down to the number 9. So again, as part of our academy, these are things that we look for in a player. Again, if you have any players that you feel that deserve an opportunity, let your area directors know. Your area directors will call me. Perfect example, I think it was Mike Stauber and Pedro came out to an 0-3 practice, and we scrimmaged, I think, against some other 0-3s, and within 10 minutes you're like, oh, this kid can play, this kid can play. So, Mike obviously is not a good coach, but he understands of what the system is and how the club works in terms of the club and pushing players into the academy, and he lost, I think Pedro lost 2 of his best players within 2 minutes. But he accepted it, and he understood that this was better for the player and for both players. So we hope to have that connection when we talk about connectivity. And I know it's not easy losing players, because sometimes when you lose that one best player, it might mean another one goes and another one goes, and there goes your team. And I totally get that. I've been there before. But I also want you just to understand and respect the fact that we're trying to build, the best academy possible in Southern California, besides being so competitive with MLS teams, with the Galaxy, Real Salt Lake. It's very difficult sometimes to retain players, but we feel that if we believe in our values and our standards and our objectives of what we're trying to accomplish, we feel that we won't lose players to the Galaxy just because they're a pro. I think we've lost 1 player since in the last 3 years that went, and then he wanted to come back within 2 months. So that kind of shows that, for us as a staff, we've developed a pretty good program. So that's it in regarding the academy. Just wanted to touch base really quick on licensing. I know a lot is changing through licensing right now. It was part of a meeting about a month ago with the new staff. They brought in a new Dutch contingent of coaches, and they're changing the licensing completely. So now, instead of having an application or a process where you go online, it's open, you fill out your thing, and then you get in, you got your license. Not anymore. Everything's going to be application based. So if you sign up and you think you're in, you're not in. You'll probably get a phone call, they'll talk to you, they'll interview you, they're going to check your licensing, what you've done previous years. Say you're a B license, you haven't done your A license in 10 years, be ready, because you'll probably have to do your B again. Because that's the way they're going right now. The C license right now will take, it's a 3, before it was 10 days, I think, right? C license, B license in about 10 days. Now it's going to be C license 3 months, B license 4 months, A license 6 months. Within those, say an A license 6 months, you'll meet 3 times within those 6 months. So you'll go somewhere for 3-4 days, you'll come back, you'll do video, you'll send video in, they'll analyze it, you'll do a field session, you'll analyze it, you'll go back and meet with them again, you'll do this for 6 months. And then after that, I think your final evaluation is not, which I think is the best part, is sometimes as coaches, when you go to Arizona, for instance, for 10 days in your A license, and they stick you a bunch of players that can't kick a ball, and then now you get judged by that. Well, now they're going to change that. They're going to come to your facility, your kids, your practice, your environment to see what type of training sessions you do based on the kids that you deal with on a day-to-day basis, which I think is better for a coach, because sometimes it's a little nerve-wracking when you get in front of people you don't know, coaches you don't know. You know, sometimes you say the wrong things and you only have one chance to do it. Well, now it's going to change a little bit. So that's kind of licensing the way it's going. You know, within the academy, you have to, and I know going into the girls really quick in a second, with the boys academy, you have to have at least a B license to coach in the academy. And that's just to coach a game. You have to have at least, even assistant coaches have to have a B license. Now, they did that, they told us this 3 years ago. They said, we're giving you guys 3 years because they did a survey monkey 3 years ago, and across the academy, 80 clubs, 20 coaches had A licenses. No coach, they had academy directors, less than half had an A license. So they really pushed this licensing the last 3 years. So they gave all the academy clubs 3 years to get their licensing. So you basically had 3 years to get your B. Now it's when the timeline stops, where they said 2016 season, if you don't have a B license, you can't coach in the academy. And with the girls academy coming up next season, I'm probably going to do the same thing, where they'll give you a process or timeline of 3 years, 2 years. If you don't have this done by this time, then you're not going to be able to coach. So again, are we saying that licensing makes you a better coach? Yeah, some of it. Does it give you credibility as a club? Yeah, I think so. It gives you credibility to your parents? Yeah. But just because you have an A license doesn't mean you're a great coach. I know some very good coaches that have D&E licenses that are really, really good coaches. They just don't have the time, and the energy to go out and get an A license and spend time away from their families for 10 days. It's a long time. But if you want to make that sacrifice and try to get to the next level, wherever it may be, college, academy, pros, it's important to get your licensing done. That's it for me.
And also, you guys on that with the.
Freddie had mentioned that you send footage in to the rest of the coaches. We help out with that. I have Brad TV helps out with that. I've done Sean, David, Mario, and Teddy themselves. They've asked me to help them out with their video. So I put it down for them the 10 minutes that they want, and we send them in for you guys. So if you guys need help with that, your license is bradtv@gmail.com, and then we can talk about it.
Cool, and you guys, hey, just a couple quick notes on that. Anyone who hasn't been out to see the academy or touch base on things, both teams are well into the playoff race right now and in a very good position. They've done a heck of a job. Both teams are battling top 4, which in our conference with so many MLS and funded teams, that's a heck of an accomplishment. So the staff's doing great. And with all this, we're always looking, I'm on the academy staff all the time about bringing the academy to the club, similar to what we're doing right now. But it's also a challenge to all of us to bring the club the academy expectations up to the academy from the club. So the academy comes to the club's got to step up to the academy's expectations. So please soak all this in, try to relay it with your kids, more importantly your parents, so that they understand what it is we're all looking for inside the academy. Just a quick note on the licensing. Going through, I had all you guys turn back in on Survey Monkey what licenses we're all at. And just so you know, in a room of 110 people, we had 10 A licenses. Teddy's an academy director, which is the top level. Only 12 people in the country have it. Teddy was on the pilot course, and we're lucky enough to have him be a part of it. There's 11 B licenses and about 20 C's just inside this room. So that's good for everyone that has it. Kind of tell us where we're at within the room, what your challenges are. And it's another thing I'm challenging us to do is to try to get to next year when we're standing here. We're talking about 20 A's, 20 B's, and 40 C's. It's just a matter of some of us stepping up that next license level, committing that time. The club's willing to help offset some of those costs. and we really want to make sure we're making a push in that direction. So I'll be the first one. I'm never the license guy, but it is important. Get it done. It's like your degree. I went to school here, so I can say it. Just get your degree here, be done with it. It's in your shelf. You can always go back and use it when you need it, and so forth. It's something that you guys really should be pushing to have. So now we've got Austin here. Austin's going to talk a little bit about the connectivity of the club. He's going to get into the travel opportunity we have with AS Roma and around, and talk about a couple of different professional philosophies here.
Good evening, folks. I just arrived from Scotland last night. I know I'm on the graveyard shift here, the last one on. I won't be too long, not that my presentation isn't long, it's just I'm bursting for a piss. So anyway, I found this AM Sports Tours 10 years ago, which I'll tell you about very briefly. And I'm also an assistant coach in Northern Ireland. We've just qualified for Euro 2016. I just started a job as a UEFA technical observer, which involves me going to assess youth programmes in other countries in Europe. It's really interesting, and I'm learning a lot from it. On the first point, we've now worked with PATS for a couple of years, and with the Roma group. I've been out to Rome and also hosted in Scotland the Roma amalgamation team with some of the staff here who came out to Scotland and England and Ireland last year. So I'm just going to show you a short video about some of the opportunities for the players. And this isn't just elite players. Like, Rome's a great place to go, as are Barcelona and London and other cities in Europe. But there's a misconception in America that all players in Europe are really good and their kids can't go there, have fun, experience that, and do things. There's community players in Europe as well. And if your team wants to go, there's some great opportunities. The video was 2 hours long, but John asked me to remove every image of him with a glass of red wine. So it edited itself down to 3 minutes. In a broader sense, if you are interested in taking your own team or group or any part of PATS abroad, We're starting a programme also that in 2005 have an opportunity to go to the UK every Thanksgiving, and in 2003 have an opportunity to go to Barcelona every Thanksgiving. We want that to become an annual trip for them. So within the organisational structure of the club, parents know that these international opportunities exist. If you'd like further information, my business card's there. I know you're here though for football, so I'm not going to bang on about international travel. There's plenty on the website about that. And in terms of connectivity, and I just want to give you 3 different stats, and then I've looked at why I thought Northern Ireland may be successful. I was looking at the Roma presentation there, and at one point they always talked about dominating the ball, being the best, being really good at possession. We're the complete opposite, because we don't get to develop our players, we just inherit them. So we are very good without the ball. We were the first team from top 5 ever to qualify for a major tournament, and that's globally in the history of people having a top 5. And it was the first qualification ever for the European Championships for Northern Ireland, and the first time that Northern Ireland have ever won a group. And one thing about getting a club connected, or getting a country connected, which is really difficult in Northern Ireland if you know the history, it took Bill Clinton to actually connect the thing. Was a saying that our manager had, our head coach Michael O'Neill, he had a great saying, take away the grey. And I think he's done this in many ways, both in terms of changing the chef, changing the way we travel, and also changing the way that we play as a team. Because it was unrealistic for the players that we had to try and be successful. Now, just to give you one little example, any time our centre half steps over the halfway line with the ball, he smashes a diagonal ball. That's an example of taking away the grey. That's an example of meaning that as a team, we're all on the same page tactically. But I've also gone through and looked at some of the work that we've done in a kind of post-Euro qualification, and we did follow a process which I thought was low resource and high output. So every game we really broke it down, and I've looked at the work that Teddy does, and I think for the resources that you have, what the club does for their academy players is unbelievable, in terms of every player getting different video analysis specific to them and their game. Some premiership teams aren't doing that. I'm not joking. You'd be amazed by the lack of professionalism at times. So we disseminate, we analyse the next opponent, we train, we educate, we motivate. And we used, and I'm being serious here, we used very, very basic tools to do it. And to advance as a coach, and with John talking about the licensing there, to advance as a coach, don't find an excuse. Don't find an excuse not to do it. I was not a top player at all. I failed in Japan, ended up in Japanese Division 4, played in Romanian Division 3. I was a college player here, and I'm now going to the European Championship. And I think a lot of times people but I'll never get the opportunity in the professional game, or I'll not get the opportunity here, or I don't know somebody. Keep trying, because there are more and more doors are opening for coaches who haven't played at the top level. And I'm just an example of that. Now, in terms of us doing everything, the Faroe Islands are a really small side, right? But they cause a lot of trouble for teams. And we looked at one statistic that was key to the way that we tried to communicate to the players and the supporters how we could win this game, was that they only lost 13% of their goals in the first half. Now, if you just take that and you take away connectivity, what helps you win a game? Coaches, yes. Players, absolutely. The media and supporters. Right? So we looked at a way that we were going into a massive game for us. Faroe Islands had just beaten Greece twice. Ranieri, who's the manager of Leicester, who's now just about to win the Premier League, was fired after Northern Ireland beat them in Greece, and then they lost back-to-back games to the Faroe Islands. So he's going from losing to this country twice to winning the Premier League. It's a funny old game. So we tried to get the message to the players that in this big game for us, 3 games to go, we've never been in a pressure situation because we've never been successful, that this could be a draw at half-time against a tiny nation. And the reason why it could be was that it was a lot of the time. And if we could deal with that stress at that moment, the likelihood was we'd win the game in the last 20 minutes. Statistically, that was. So we got that message to the players. And in every interview they did, they got that message out through Sky Sports, which got that message to supporters, which got that message in the paper, which meant that there was no stress when it was 1-1 at half time. So I'll just show you very quickly here. So we're out in the Faroe Islands, 3 games to go, we really need a result, we get off to a good start, we score. Right? So at that point, without knowing this information about them, without knowing the trends, you know, you see how happy the supporters are. And then what always happens, they scored. We don't defend the situation very well. And it's then 1-1. Now you can imagine, you come in, a lot of players haven't been under this stress before. At half time, there's complete calm in the changing room. Because throughout the whole week, we'd said, look, if we continue to get attacks, continue to get the ball in the box in the final third, the last 20 minutes, they lose goals. 20 seconds into what we'd said was almost word perfect. Now don't get me wrong, things in football go your way sometimes and they don't. But this had shown a trend for so long, and we'd done the work to find that trend out. I really think and we scored again after this to help. Now, the other things that I talked about in identifying weaknesses in other teams, we use a program that allows us to put graphics on it, allows us to identify key areas where we think we can get success. And in this stage against the Faroe Islands, it was between their lines. We were always one player lazy of getting back into their 4-4-2 or 4-4-1-1. So we tried to hammer home to the players that we wanted to play in these areas. We wanted to try and move them, and we wanted to try and make sure that we played through their game quite quickly when they were disorganised. So the way that we communicate that, and this programme was fantastic because it means that you don't talk too long, which I'm sure you're as equally grateful for as a player. But the reality is that if you speak for over 3 minutes to footballers at any one time, you forget what you're talking about. Right? So, and again, that's reality, it's not me being disrespectful. And we also emailed them, so we tried to find every way to get message across to them. Was it on the training pitch? Was it in a static thing that they could read? So they got this by email, they watched it as a team in video, and this was part of the training cycle. So we also, before we went on the pitch, and bear in mind it's not California, in Belfast, training in March, you want to be on the training pitch outside for as little as you possibly can. So we found that it was a big, even for top players, and we've got 5 players in the English Premier League, it was a big advantage if we went through stuff with them in the classroom beforehand. Because when we showed them the reason why we're doing it, we then showed them what they were going to be doing. So then it was just one example here. You know, static without any opposition. Naturally, as the session progressed, we would advance the training. And then we also videoed everything. And we are a national team, right? We've got 1.5 million people in the country, so we're not very big. And also, if you're Catholic, you can choose to play for the Republic. It's the only country in the world that you can be born there and your religion can dictate that you can play for somebody else. It's part of the Good Friday Agreement to try and stop all the trouble. So it's a very, very unique place. And you can see here, you know, the session. Now, we didn't have a lot of resources at this point. We hadn't qualified, and the way that we logged training as a national team was with PowerPoint and with an iPhone. I'm not joking. Again, that's not a 20 grand program. That is PowerPoint with icons dragged into it, and it's an iPhone that does the training. Then the only advantage that we did have was we had a thing called StatSport, which told us the total amount of time we trained in that exercise, the distance, everything else, and we were very sports science based in the fact of how we wound training down going into the games. And in international football now in Europe, it's double-header. You play within 3 days. You play Friday night, you play Monday. So you play Friday night in Belfast, for example, Greaseburner's route, 5-hour flight. So you play Friday night, you recover, you get on the plane the next day around midday, you're then in the hotel in Greece. You've got maybe one session on the pitch. So we've got the players on the Monday, we play the Friday night. So we work all that week to prepare for one game. We then travel on the Saturday. We maybe get one training session on the Sunday, but now so many of the players do a second day recovery that you don't actually get the whole team together. You play the Monday night in Athens. So the amount that you do through video, and then you just get them back on the pitch, was so important, and that happened every single time. And then as a staff, out of every training session, could then do, take some notes. So I think the process we used for the resources we got was really thorough. We'd then do a very short dissemination of the game, which we'd send to every player. And again, this was psychological. So we wanted to try and highlight maybe 5 or 6 minutes of where they did what we wanted them to do. And in this case, and just let the first 20 seconds run, the first thing was if we lost possession in the final third, the whole group would dropped off the game. But against the Faroe Islands, when we lost possession in the final third, we wanted to press the ball. So there was a quick example of that, and the second one was exactly what we tried to do before, which was play into the pocket. We'd then send every player their own game. So I don't know if in any 90-minute game, most players are involved for between 5 and 7 minutes. That's touches, that's key tracking runs, that's tackles, that's headers. That also includes the goalkeeper. So the actual, if you cut a game for a player, their average time would be about 7 minutes. And they'd also get their stats. So these were little things. We tried to show the players right from the start of the group that we wanted to be as professional as we can based on the resources that we have. And if that was PowerPoint and the iPhone, that was what it was. So coming back to your club, right, and what I said, and balancing expectations and setting targets. I've been looking at some studies lately that might just give you some ideas collectively. It might not come because you're so big, you've got 210 games, you've got a lot of people with a lot of ideas with different points of view. Just a couple of things to throw out there. And I've taken the boys, and I'm aware that girls' football here is bigger, if not, than boys. World champions. But this goes back to employment. So this is why I've used boys. Okay, so it goes back to employment and jobs in professional football. Clearly it's growing in Europe for women as well. So broadly 5% of any population are boys aged 8 to 18. Right? I'm generalising a little. The English Premiership Performance Programme, easier for you to say, stats indicate that 1 player per 900 registered players has the potential to be a professional EG Academy level. Right? So if there's 900, and that's a professional, not playing in the English Premier League, which I'll come back to in a second. Some other things to think about. If 1 in 900 becomes an academy player, and each academy has 18 players, then 2 per year from the academy are likely to be professional footballers. And professional footballers are defined as people earning over $300 a week. Right? So it's in Europe, in some countries, a good wage. This means there's 1 job as a professional footballer per 8,100 registered players. And I think in terms of registrations, American sport is really, really strong in registration. So in some countries in Europe, there will be more players than those are registered because there's so many loopholes. It's quite, you write your name on a bit of paper, you hand it to the ref, whatever that may be. Or you write somebody else's name on a bit of paper. So in terms of going back to Roma, going back to connectivity, going back to you think there's a talented kid in your academy, and again I'm migrating back to Europe here as kind of what I know best. There's 907 professional football clubs in Europe. So where are the jobs? And we've discussed this before, Teddy, John and I specifically, but Roma are here in Champions League, the Champions League club. Okay? There's 36 Champions League clubs. The Europa League, there's the same, there's then mid-level in terms of earning, and then there's a lot of jobs down here, $200 to $500 a week. So the ambition for a kid, I think, is very, very important, and managing that. And the partnership with Roma and with Patador is brilliant. We've got a player there in 2004. Here is the statistics of him actually getting on the grass in the Champions League. 1 in 417,000. Right? Doesn't mean he's not going to do it. He might be that one. Right? But if the expectations of that little boy, in this case, are this club will give me the best chance of being a professional footballer. Now ultimately he'll want to do it at Roma. We all do. But there's lots of other opportunities that he's up here just now, and if his reality can be, I'll improve and I'll have an opportunity, and there's a network to have that opportunity, I think he's got a great chance. I think that there's a moral responsibility for everybody to balance those expectations to any young player. And I think the States do a great job of it because you've got sports scholarships. You don't have that in Europe. And we talked before, again, Teddy and myself, speaking about how lots of European players now want to come to America on a scholarship. Lots of American players want to go to Europe and play because the grass is always greener on the other side. And this was just a little thing I put together. The European pro piece. So you find this player that has maybe been in college, he might not go there. Here are some countries that an American player can play, and they're, I've picked some salaries that I know actually exist. Iceland, 150 euros per week, an apartment and a car. If you play 15 times for the first team, you can maybe get 300 in the second year. Finland, 200 euros a week, apartment and a car. Again, you can maybe get up to 400. Then Sweden, bigger club, 300 euros apartment and a car, 500 euros per week. And you collectively, everybody here, and this is far more balanced for the girls' side as well. I think that by getting Ethans into Roma, you open doors for lots of other things to happen. But it might not necessarily happen at that level, but I don't think that should be a failure. The day that you see on the website that Ethan signed for HJK Helsinki and is making his debut in the Europa League, that's all part of the pathway, that's all connected. Roma are helping that little boy. If he gets on and plays and captains the US national team, fantastic. Because everybody here is playing a part in trying to get the players into Teddy's academy to try and move them on to the next level. And that's what everybody's trying to do. And that should be a bigger achievement than winning any tournament. Finally, I kind of summed it up there. We've got 210 teams, therefore 3,360 players. I think some of these numbers are very interesting. They've only been handed to me lately, and it allows me to think about youth development maybe in a different way. Manage my own expectations for my own club at home, manage the expectations of people who travel with us. And just when I was watching Roma's curriculum there, two little quotes. If we want players who can think fast and clearly in high-intensity pressure situations, don't do their thinking for them during low-intensity training. Sometimes I feel really sorry for American coaches because you're getting judged by people who pay a lot of money for you to coach their kids who don't know a lot about soccer. Right? Now, you stand at the side of the pitch and they watch you coach. And because they pay a lot of money, they want you to be really, really interactive with your kids, like almost kick the ball for them, but not quite. And I think that sometimes the way that people learn is in so many different ways. And you've got great access to curriculum and everything else. But some of these things are really, really important. Like football is chaos at times. We can't always solve the problem for the player. But they end up being like Northern Ireland players that are good without the ball. And I'm being serious. But we want them to be like Roma players. We do. Right? And that's because they attack, they go to the goal, they do all these things. And I think when hear the partner that you have, hear the club, hear the structure, I think that you can all dare to dream. And on that note, just the last thing on a non-commercial sense, if any of you are ever in Europe, I've got a lot of good connections. If you're on holiday, if you want to go to a game, please get in touch. We've helped out a few people in the room who are just over there themselves, travelling around, wanting to go to a session, wanting to go to a game. My business card's on the table, and I'll leave my iPad there as well if you want to put your email in it. And if there's anything that we can help with, we're happy to do so. And if any of your kids are interested in doing a look abroad, please get in touch. Thanks very much.
Okay, you guys, just one last note to wrap everything up here. I want to make sure that, as we get back out there in the field and all that, one last thing we ought to touch on is, please, we're trying to do what we can to educate you guys. You guys need to educate the parents, all right? And that's something that seems to be an ongoing theme. People that know me well know how irritated I get at parental involvement with what we're doing. I don't go to the lawyer's office, the doctor's office, the gardener, whoever, and tell them how to do their jobs. I don't expect them to do that for you guys. And I hear times where parents are sending you guys emails, telling you about the game, telling you about the practice, telling you who worked hard, who didn't, who played well. Please respond to them and tell them thank you for the information, but you need to do your job, and in order to do that properly, you need to think for yourself, and you need to think from within the club. And you have the club's support when it comes down to that. We sat as directors today and spoke about it, and every area's got a story about some psycho parent. And now it's coming to where it doesn't just affect you guys in the areas, it affects us in the academy. Within the first 3 months, we've identified 3 or 4 psycho parents. Then now we need to let the kid move on because their parents are getting involved. And it's not fair to the kid, all right? But that's life. And part of helping their lives is helping change their parents, cultivate them a little bit to understand what the big picture is. And then you know what? Now that child doesn't have to go find a different academy to play for or a different club. But it starts with you guys managing your parents and educating your parents. And you must be respectful while you do it. I don't want you guys to just crack down and be harsh on them, but you also need to draw a line. Anyone who's, a lot of you guys have known me for a long time in the room, you know you don't see me at dinner with parents in the club. You don't see me taking vacations. You don't see me accepting gifts. I keep parents here. There's a lot of parents in the club that don't even know who I am. I get to go in the office sometimes and they're over, doing whatever. But that's because I keep myself separated. And that's what you guys need to do. It'll make your lives 10 times easier. Because once you start accepting one email, they're going to send another one. And then they're going to send another one. So please be clear, as you do your parent meetings at the beginning of the year, set those guidelines, a 24-hour rule. Parents are not allowed to speak to the coach for 24 hours after the game. That has been a rule in this club since I played in the Patadores in 1987. We've had that rule. So that rule needs to come back and stay enforced. No matter how big we get, we need to draw the line there. Because even if you're okay dealing with it, oh, this parent's fine, I'll deal with them. As soon as you get replaced and you have a new team and a new coach takes it over or they go to a new program, now they got to deal with it. And everything that you've helped cater to and cultivate becomes the next coach's problem, and they look twice as bad because they're the ones who really have to snap back and crack down. So please, you have the club's support to do this. Please keep your parents managed. All right, let them understand what our expectations are and what we do here. All right, you'll make all of our lives much easier because of it. All right, so hopefully you guys have all enjoyed the night. Thank you to Austin for everything he's done for the club. Thank you to Giuseppe. Thank you to Alessio. Thank you to Teddy and everybody else that had a part of it. Mark and his gang coming out and doing it. All of you guys making the commitment. You got your tablets, you got your information, you got your software. Now we're all connected. Let's stay that way throughout the next year. So thank you very much.